Okay, so we are moving on to chapter 3. I am on page 19. I hope y'all are also enjoying the nice visuals that are in this book. So we just left off, remember, Max, our main character, or no, Jack, sorry. Jack, the older one. He lost his geography B, super bummed, and then they had the funny joke in chapter 2 where Wizzy, the map, said that he is going to Brazil, which was the question that he lost. It was about Brazil. So there's a funny moment. So I'm wondering what's going to happen next, because it did end with a little cliffhanger saying that the last thing he remembered was hearing Max next door saying something too. Okay, so chapter 3, it's also called the surprise attack. So I'm wondering what kind of surprise attack is going to happen. Okay, so follow along with me. I'm on page 19. When Jack arrived, he found himself in the middle of a dense, dark forest. The leaves on the trees above him blocked the sunlight above. The air was hot and humid, and beads of water were forming on his face. He lifted his arm and wiped his brow with his sleeve. A drop of water fell from a leaf above and landed on the tip of Jack's nose. Squawk! Jack jumped. Squawk! Jack steadied himself and looked in the direction of the sound. A pair of scarlet macaws were perched on a nearby branch. Jack was relieved. Scarlet macaws were harmless, but the large green snake coiled on the opposite branch wasn't. It was the emerald tree boa, a snake that could squeeze its prey to death. Jack took a few steps back, although it wasn't venomous. He didn't want to become the snake's next meal. Marching in a line at the base of another tree was a string of bullet ants. The bullet ant was known as the world's most painful insect. Its sting felt like the agony of being shot by a bullet. Jack looked down at his GPF standard issue pants and boots and said a silent "thank you" to Mr. Richardson. Mr. Richardson was the GPF's tech guru. He'd recently developed an insect repellent called Get Off My Clothes. It was 10 times better than anything on the market. All secret agents' clothes and boots had been sprayed with it. Given the macaws, bullet ants, and emerald tree boa, there was no doubt in Jack's mind that he was in the Brazilian rainforest. He couldn't have been more excited. Ever since reading about the adventures of the American president Teddy Roosevelt, Jack wanted to visit. In 1914, Mr. Roosevelt and a team of explorers had successfully navigated an unexplored river of the Amazon. In his honor, the river was later named Roosevelt. Roosevelt's adventure was filled with danger, death, and disease. Jack didn't want to encounter those things on his mission, but he was secretly hoping for an adventure like Roosevelt's. Blam! Out of nowhere, Jack was hit from behind. Whatever it was had knocked him to the ground. Jack quickly rolled over and stood up. He put his hands out. After all, it could have been a Panthera onça or a Brazilian jaguar. Jack had to be prepared for another strike. As soon as Jack saw what had hit him, he barreled forward and shoved it to the ground. He playfully rubbed its face into the mud. It was Jack's brother, Max. "Let's go," shouted Max in a muffled voice. "Not until you apologize for knocking me down," said Jack. "I couldn't help it," said Max. "I landed a bit funny." Max was taller and stronger than Jack. He quickly twisted his body around, grabbed Jack's arms, and pinned him to the ground. "Give up?" asked Max, yanking gently on Jack's arm. Okay, said Jack. Max released Jack and wiped the mud off his face. Jack sat up and rubbed his sore arm. "We're in the rainforest," said Jack. "You don't say," said Max teasingly. It was pretty obvious where they were. Jack gave his brother an annoyed look. Something in their secret agent book started to vibrate. They opened their bags to find the VT lighting up. The VT was one of the newest GPF gadgets. It could project a live 3D image anywhere in the world. Unlike cell phones, it didn't require a wireless signal, which is great in remote places like the Amazon jungle. Max took it out and opened the case. He put the receiving end on the ground. A small image of Harry Billingsby sprang up from the bottom half of the VT. Harry worked for the GPF and was Director Barter's right-hand man. He was wearing thick-rimmed glasses, a gray suit, and a red and blue striped tie. "Hello, courage and wisdom," said Harry, using Jack and Max code names. "Hi, Harry," said the boys in unison. Harry cleared his throat. He quickly got to business. As you know, Harry began, many people think that the rainforest holds the key to helping and curing human disease. Jack and Max nodded. They'd recently read a GPF report on that. Chemicals from rainforest plants had already been used to treat stress, muscle aches, and diarrhea. It was just a matter of time before scientists found cures for other more serious things like cancer. That's why we sent our lead botanist, Jenny Rosenbottom, to the area, explained Harry. She was to photograph, catalog, and research new plants. And, asked Max, wondering what the problem was. Jenny's disappeared, said Harry, looking concerned. What happened to her? Asked Jack, leaning in. We don't know, said Harry, tweaking his glasses a bit. That's what we need the two of you to find out. When was she last seen? Asked Max. Yesterday morning, said Harry. She participated in a video call. Since then, no one's been able to reach her, and she didn't show up for today's call. Do you have the location of her camp? Asked Max. I've sent the directions to your watch phone, said Harry. We'll start there, said Jack. Don't worry, said Max, trying to reassure Harry. We'll find Jenny. I hope so, said Harry. Then his image disappeared. Okay, so relating back to our chapter, boys and girls, who and what was the surprise attack? Okay, I hope you enjoyed chapter 3. We'll keep reading later. Bye.